What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or GameOverJesse. Here with us on the Highland Gamescast is Ilya, right above me, Daniel, diagonal from me, and Chablima beside me. Today we're going to be talking about Banjo Kazooie for the Nintendo 64. This is our review discussion segment of our podcast. We've talked about Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario 64, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, pretty much all of the famous games that we love, but we're moving on from Zelda to talk about other franchises. Today it's Banjo Kazooie, so in this video we're each going to list our favorite parts of Banjo Kazooie, and then we have a follow-up video talking about what we dislike or hate or would change about Banjo Kazooie if it were to be remade in a new game. Similar to how Wind Waker HD, Ocarina of Time 3D, all of these games had certain mechanics changed. They added in 2 fishing puns in Majora's Mask that weren't even there in the original.
Important detail.
Yeah, so apparently Grezzo was just like, hey, we want 2 fishing ponds. One isn't enough. So if they were to remake the game, what would they change? What would we like for them to change? That's what we talk about. Because if we just listed the stuff we liked, you could call us biased, and we don't want that. So to be fair, the good and the bad, starting with Ilya, since it is her topic. What do you like the most about Banjo Kazooie?
Okay, so this might seem like a cop-out answer, because it's kind of inclusive of a lot of things, but I would say the overall atmosphere of that game. I mean, I don't view this as a cop-out answer, but I understand if people view it that way, because it's so ridiculous. You are a bear named Banjo who has a bird in your backpack, and just
I don't see the problem.
All of the gameplay, you're collecting notes of all things. You shoot eggs out of your mouth and the bird's butt. Like, it's so weird. But it's not like Conker's Bad Fur Day weird. Not that that's a bad game, but it's so fun. It's so lively, and even I've had friends who didn't play it till they were an adult, and they went, oh my gosh, this is such a fun game. And it's not like a child atmosphere to where it's like you can only get it if you have nostalgia for it. The music, everything that goes with it, just plays into this really fun, silly atmosphere that they just made it work. It's so weird. Never would have thought, if you told me to play a game with this concept, I would have been like, what? But they just make it work so well. That's it.
I don't understand the silliness of this.
It's not silly to collect notes, of course not.
No, like you said that you like the silliness and like the bizarreness of it all, but I don't. Is that not what happens in the real world?
You
Birds
don't think a
spit and
bear
poop out eggs?
with a bird in his backpack who talks to a mole named Goggles with this crazy witch that really wants to be skinny?
Totally normal.
Is it not?
Everyday
Totally
life.
normal.
Well, you guys live in Canada, so
I've met a couple of Gruntildas in my time.
Maybe Canada's a bit different than Tennessee. I don't know how the bears act up there.
That's pretty much it. They wear backpacks. There's a sort of symbiotic, mutually beneficial relationship with the birds. So,
okay, no. Okay,
we're all
I'm
actually
joking.
bears.
Sorry. Bad joke, guys.
You're joking? What?
I thought y'all were moose.
Moose.
No, we ride the moose. Okay.
I have to say, I never realized how giant a moose is.
Right?
They are enormous.
Yeah.
They're huge.
Like,
Bigger
I think
than,
most
like,
people.
SUVs.
Yeah, most people imagine them being like the same size as like a deer or something, but they're like
That's
5.
what I thought.
Yeah, they're like.
You hit a moose while you're driving on the highway, you dead.
If this was Pokemon,
right
a deer would evolve into a moose.
Someone put that on Twitter, please.
I think we killed Chablima with the stupid joke.
All right, Jesse, what's your favorite thing?
Well,
go.
No, you go.
No.
You go.
Fine.
You cold.
My favorite thing, after Ilya gave us a really nice recap of everything that's amazing about Banjo Kazooie, definitely like like the humor of the game. I love the way that everyone just kind of like jokes with each other. They're kind of like they're kind of mean to each other. Gruntilda only speaks in terrible rhymes. I just
Kazooie is so sarcastic and mean.
Yeah, right?
I love Kazooie's.
Kazooie's basically me on a regular day.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's 100% like one of my favorite things about this game. I go into this game always entertained because it's just like the weirdest type of humor, and it kind of makes me wonder if maybe I'm such a weird person because I played such weird games growing up.
Or maybe you play such weird games because you're such a weird person. Chicken or the egg, right?
And also the voices they have going along.
Yeah.
It sounded like you're trying to sing a song.
Bottles impression.
People that haven't played Banjo Kazooie. My boyfriend hasn't played Banjo Kazooie. We were thinking about playing ukulele, and he was like, "This game sounds really annoying." And I was like, "Have you not played Banjo Kazooie?" And he was like, "No."
No, so
then you don't know.
The cool thing about ukulele is that they brought, like, they intentionally brought back the sound designer and like the guy that made the music and the soundtrack and everything to get those silly voices and like the like that style of music that plays. It's like happy-go-lucky, adventure-y, and like uses like weird, bizarre instruments that you wouldn't necessarily, not bizarre instruments, but it uses them in a bizarre way that's like unique to that franchise.
It's that Grant Kirkhope flavor.
Yeah.
It's like a secret sauce. If video games were sandwiches, that would be their secret sauce. You know?
Alright. So to recap from Ilya, yours was just the atmosphere.
Yep.
Tubes was
humor.
The humor. And Daniel.
Stole my answer.
What do
I
you
was
have?
gonna say the humor. But I guess what I'm gonna say is the level design. I really like this sort of the mini sandboxes where it's just you got your hub world and then just these little mini sandboxes, and I love collectathon games. I live for a game where I can look at a pause screen and track my progress and get to 100%. I love that stuff. It's yeah, so it just that stuff drives me, motivates me to like be like, okay, I gotta collect this many of this thing and then I go fight the boss. But those, like, a sandbox game is fun because you get big open spaces where you have lots to do, but those mini sandboxes are great because each level is open and you've got lots to do, but not so big and open that you get lost and you lose direction, you know. And it's like, what at that point you're just like, what do you do? Oh no, there's too much. So it's that nice perfect balance where those little mini sandbox levels are just the right size, in my opinion. So that's my answer, just that overall level design.
All right, level design is cool because, and it might go sort of with what I'm going to say. I'm going to say okay, so Banjo Kazooie isn't necessarily an open world. It's more like a mix of Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64, right? Like in terms of
closer to Mario 64 because Mario 64 is the same sort of layout where it's there's a linear progression, but then there's all these little mini sandboxes. You jump to a painting, you get your world with some stuff to collect in there and objectives.
You put the puzzle pieces in, bam, world opens up.
Okay.
Mario 64, you collect stars, and then bam, world opens up.
But like, I feel
very similar
the
formula.
worlds themselves are a lot bigger than the typical Super Mario world.
Yeah, but I think that's because like they when they were designing the game, they were going for something very different. They were going for more like platformer, and then Mario 64 came out and they saw that. There's interviews where they kind of explain this, and it's definitely worth watching. But they saw Mario 64 and they're like, that's what we got to do. That's great. And they rode with it and they made it bigger and better. A lot of people say it's sacrilege, but I think that Banjo Kazooie is a little bit better than Mario 64 because it learned a lot of what was kind of janky and weird about Mario 64 and improved on that as well. And has better camera functionality. So
so I'm gonna say like the sense of mystery in those levels, because sometimes like you'll do something or you'll unlock something that lets you go back to access a part of that level that you weren't able to before, almost in like a Metroid type of way, where like you find out you have an ability or something that lets you get to a place that you weren't able to before. So like there's a lot of replayability, I guess, to where you can go back and like access different parts or like do different things to get to different areas to get like new items and stuff. And that's what I like about it, is that like it doesn't get boring replaying the same level, where like if you go back to explore an area that you were already at, most of the time you'll find different stuff there that you didn't the first time. So that's what I really like about it. Whereas in like, and Super Mario 64 did that as well, to where like you could unlock like the hat that had like let you fly around and stuff, so you could get stars that you weren't able to before. So Banjo Kazooie does that as well, and I really like that.
But I think Banjo Kazooie does it better.
Yeah.
So there's more moves and stuff like Mario 64, but by the end of the game, the like sort of extra moves and stuff he unlocks are like temporary. You might find a cap box and get a wing hat and then fly around for a bit. That's it. A lot of Chewie. A lot of Banjo Kazooie's moves that you acquire, you get to keep forever through the rest of the game, and that is not the case in Mario 64. Mario's like moveset is almost stagnant, gets static throughout the whole game. So there's not as much growth or development in that sense. So
yeah,
not to say again, Mario 64 is not a bad game, guys. We love it, but just to let you know,
I really like all of the attacks and stuff. The game changer for me is instead of like running around slow, being able to like get on Kazooie and speed run to different areas.
Yes.
Talon trot.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
The thing is that Mario has some abilities, like he can punch and kick, for example, and you could play the whole game and not ever use that. But Banjo Kazooie, like you get all these different moves, and there's a lot more.
You have to use them,
and you got to use them all. Yeah, like you put their abilities into action when you get them. So, I love that stuff.
Nothing is wasted in that game, and I know I don't mean to like jump ahead to anything else, but like you think of like Gruntilda's sister, and you're like, oh, I'm just hearing these weird facts. Then you get to the end of the game, and you're like, those were necessary. Like, oh crap. But kind of seeing what you said about like, you know, the move design, but then also mystery. That moment, like when you go to Gobi's Valley and you're like, oh, I'm learning how to use the running shoes here. Now I can go back to Freak ZZ Peak and do that other game. Or maybe it was vice versa. But still. And you're like, and you know, and it's not boring to go back and explore the other world, in my opinion. So.
Another cool thing is how great the boss fights are. For me. I like the boss fights. Do you not like the boss fights?
Bosses.
No, not the... Am I thinking of Tooie?
Tooie had some bosses. Banjo, the first one, there were no bosses until the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That was something DK64 kind of did better than Banjo Kazooie, because it had those level bosses. I don't think...
Yeah.
I can't think of any other than Grunty.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to count like the giant gorilla in Bull's Mountain that you.
Yeah,
he's more of a puzzle, though.
Exactly. Yeah. Banjo Tooie had some bosses, I think, but not Banjo Kazooie. There were no. I've only played Banjo Tooie a couple of times. I do like the game, but I always would go to Banjo Kazooie before anything else.
But see, that's where I think Banjo Tooie fell short for me, was Banjo Kazooie. When I mentioned about the sort of level of openness, Banjo Tooie was great because they did everything bigger and better, but too much bigger in some parts.
Yeah, it got overwhelming for me.
Yeah, you lose sort of your focus and your direction because it was just like there's too much openness. This sounds really ironic, me saying this, because one of my favorite games ever is Breath of the Wild, which is like the most open game on the market right now, but just because of the nature of it being a collectathon and everything, like it was just like I definitely lost my focus a little more. Like I wasn't quite as into it as I was with Banjo Kazooie, but Womp womp. That's just me. So, Jesse, you look so intense.
I was looking.
What are you?
So yeah, like it's showing. Like on Banjo Kazooie, there's like a crab thing that he's fighting. There's the gorilla. There's
Those are little things.
these like monster boxes that come up and try to attack you and
Right.
stuff. So like it shows those for the bosses, but specifically I was thinking like it's probably Banjo Tooie, where there's like the fire and the ice dragon that you fight against.
Yeah.
Do you guys not remember that?
It's been forever since I played Tooie.
I haven't played Banjo
Yeah.
Tooie in a long time. We'll have to play it again and get back to you.
Yeah, and then like there's the I forgot his name, but like your sort of friend that like wears the skull mask. That like
Mumbo?
yeah, Mumbo.
Mumbo.
You have to fight him a few times.
Well, there's an evil version of Mumbo
Yeah,
in Banjo Tooie.
yeah. So that's probably what I was getting mixed up because I was thinking of like the fire and the ice dragon, and then there's one that I had a lot of trouble with that's like in the circus carnival thing that you have to fight
I
this
remember
big
that
thing.
one.
Oh, that one was creepy.
Yeah.
And I hated the mean Joes. I'd go up and be like, "Yay, Gene Joe," and then I'd be like, "Man," and start coming. I'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
no. Creep me out."
Yeah, so those are the bosses that I was thinking about. I got the two mixed up, I guess. Because you were like, there's no
Gotcha.
bosses, and I'm like, what? I remember bosses. But yeah, I guess like you could consider them as just like, not necessarily bosses in the first one, but like, I don't know. I consider them bosses. Here, send this to you guys. So you can click through and watch it. But since
Oh yeah, I
Shaboom
know
is
those
back,
little things.
then we can go to what we didn't like, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
You guys ready?
Mhm.
All right.
Let me not be eating cheese or like actually taking a bite. Go ahead.
All right.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Elia Rose. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. And you know what? If you're a fan of videos like this, you should totally subscribe and give this video a like and comment below to let us know what type of videos you would like to see us create in the future. And if you would really like to support all of us here at the GameOverJesse channel, please consider purchasing a GameOverJesse t-shirt or becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can receive many rewards, such as getting shoutouts, having any topic or theory that you select discussed on the podcast or made into its own video, having your question answered, joining on as a guest on the podcast, and playing with us during our Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/GameOverJesse, and much, much more.